Welcome to our YouTube video series on employment law, focusing on employee terminations. My name is Christopher Neufeld of Neufeld Legal. And in this video, we'll be discussing what you should not be doing immediately after losing your job and why. And the base rationale for this is that whereas there are many progressive things that are suggested and that you need to do, what you really need to be focusing on immediately after losing your job is on closing out your employment situation with your previous employer who has just terminated you and ensuring that everything is closed out and all the money that you've earned and or are due by your former employer is paid out to you or will be paid out to you. And that needs to be your focus. So when it comes to all the other aspects, preparing your resume, updating it, updating your LinkedIn profile, working on your references, starting to look for a new job, going through the emotional issues with respect to having lost your job. Yes, those things are important, but you need to put them off for 48 to 72 hours. And you need to focus on closing out your current position with your former employer. So what you should do is take a sheet of paper, list all the things you need to do, and this includes taking care of your unemployment insurance, taking care of your financial situation. List them out and write them and put that aside, and then focus on closing out your past employment situation. Because what your employer, or now your former employer, would hope for you to do is for you to get distracted and start focusing on those future things that you have to take care of. Those elements that don't involve your past boss. And you'll feel like you're getting stuff done. You'll feel like you're moving forward. But given that you're under a very tight time crunch in many aspects when it comes to what you need to do immediately after losing your job, you need to take care of those things first and foremost. Because you'll get into the process of dealing with updating your resume, looking for a new job, taking care of unemployment insurance, going through emotional withdrawal, anger, depression, and stuff like that. And you'll feel like you're doing something. And yes, you are doing something. But with respect to the time-sensitive aspects of dealing with your past employment, you're effectively letting that slip away. And you get consumed by other stuff. And you get distracted and drawn away. And as I said, your former boss would love you to do that, to go focus on the future and avoid dealing with the past, because the past involves your former employer. But you should not be doing that. Yes, you need to do that, but you got to take the time. You got to focus your energy, focus your concentration, and deal with your past employer situation. Deal with your earnings from that employer, because you've worked hard enough for those earnings. You've worked hard enough for the payments that are due to yourself. So you should deal with them, as opposed to simply saying, I'm going to start focusing on everything else. Because too many employment situations are characterized by underpayments, failure to pay, and misconceptions of what employment law and legislation is all about. And they're more than happy to have you take less than what you are entitled to and not look into it appropriately and to move on. But you shouldn't be moving on too quickly. You should take the time to get your materials together, speak with legal counsel, and figure out if there is an active plan to go forward. You might come to the realization that there's nothing to go after your former employer with. You might come to the realization that you might have been fully paid out. All your earnings, termination of severance pay, benefits are paid. And you might have a degree of closure. But is it not better to get some closure and then to move forward as to have that open question lingering around? And that's what will happen if you don't act immediately and you don't focus on closing out your former employment situation immediately. You'll get stuck into pursuing your new employment. And as you get stuck in that, and you'll start contemplating, did I do everything I needed to do with respect to my past employment? Did I get paid everything? And then if timelines are passed, or you get so drawn into everything else, it could have negative repercussions as you don't find another job immediately. As you take on a new job and you wonder about, did I leave money on the table? You don't want to do that. Instead, what you want to do is focus your energy, at least for the first 48 to 72 hours, on starting the process of closing out your past employment. Finding the right legal professional to work with yourself to make sure that you're fully covered, everything's properly addressed, and everything that's owed to you is paid out to yourself. And once you've done that, and either you've got a strategy to go forward to deal with your past employment situation, or you've closed it off and are satisfied, at least from a legal and financial standpoint, that you've got closure, then you have the clarity to move forward in advancing your career elsewhere. But you should get that closure first. And for that very reason, you need to put stuff aside, even if it is for 40 to 72 hours, and then move on it. So that would be our strong suggestion with respect to what you should be doing in these circumstances. It's not a matter of not tackling them, but tackling stuff in the appropriate order so you get the results that you deserve, and you get the clarity and the financial legal security that you are properly entitled to. Thank you.